from my latest book, In Those Years No One Slept, published earlier this year. So I'll start with the title poem, In Those Years No One Slept. And it starts with an epigraph from Federico Garcia Lorca. Out in the sky, no one sleeps. No one, no one. Some, like my grandfather, slept standing, hiding among cornstalks and listening for dogs. The woods were full of women dressed in black. The woods were full of veiled women who'd come to him and ask, "Did you see my son? Is he still alive?" The woods were full of veiled women and young men sleeping, standing behind every tree trunk. The woods were full. Young men wore rifles and slept standing behind every tree trunk. The women were dressed in black with large wings on their backs. "Did you see my son, my husband, brother?" The woods were full. So were the cemeteries. Everyone slept standing. So when the disaster in Chernobyl happened, I was in high school, and here's a poem called Chernobyl Days. We heard about it from Radio Free Europe. Weeks later, they distributed at school to each of us 2 small white pills of potassium iodine per day and wrapped the door handles in gauze, moistened with disinfectant. Some of my classmates never took them. Apartment keys tied around their necks, kids play outside all day as usual. Summer came quickly with no birds. Mom bought us cherries from the market, so rare she couldn't pass them by, and washed them really well. They glistened on the plate. Mm. 1954. In 1954, hands in his pockets, Frank O'Hara was walking at noon on the glaring New York City streets, thinking of poems and lunch. At 7 p.m., the sun was still strong in Romania. My father was 14 at the time and plowed his father's land, hard as concrete, with a horse blind in one eye, thinking, no doubt, about poems and dinner. On Fifth Avenue, O'Hara stopped, lit a cigarette, breathed in the smoke, and looked at the sky. My father stopped and smoked too, maybe even at the same time, inhaled, exhaled, and looked at the same sky. Yes, they were young, skinny, and thoughtful, and didn't know each other. But I imagined them sharing the gestures of lighting up, tight lips holding the cigarette, the flicker, the blue breath, the crust of the earth, the sun. Decades later, I'm reading the lunch poems on the bus and think of the lives of these 2 men, each one caught in his own grinding machine. And the rabbit runs from the field in Romania into a bar in New York City, foolish enough to believe it can escape. Arsonist August. The sky is closer here and drips the molten asphalt. We drive through scorched fields of sunflowers with heads bowed, accepting death, through towns full of beggars and kids with stray dog eyes. Inside the churches, Jesus watches us from a safe distance. Burn concrete walls with black graffiti. As punishment, they grant our wishes. But the countryside is ruled by zinnias. In Romania and Cârciumărese, women pub keepers. From church to pub to cemetery, a simple trajectory. Clapping slowly, the cows come home, swaying their lips like clumsy, heavy ladies in high heels. We drive over hills, over the smoldering hills, and through the charred and gilded corn. We drive under the wedding of the storks, rotating in the sky, a clock telling us it's time. Ahead of us, August sets fire to more fields. The road home belongs to those who dare. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. And now for someone much taller. We have Anton Yakovlev. Anton, come on up here and read us some poems. Woo.